It's hi out there in Google Plus YouTube land. This is Jonathan and Bill Conrad getting ready for WP-Tonic. We're doing something. We did too well on episode 53, and we have Skype down just too well. Our sound's too good. Our pictures are too good. So we have to try something different. We're doing a Google Hangout, which was what we used for the live show. And we're going to do this for just Jonathan and I, the primary show. We know that Google is making huge gain on sound and quality. They've done this a lot in the last 3 months. And so we're going to compare these two shows and see how it looks. But I'm kind of excited, and we're going to be able to show some screenshots for you on this show. So I'm going to take a couple seconds break. Then we're going to come up on WP-Tonic for podcasting. We're going to sort of explain the same thing again. So a couple seconds. Welcome to WP-Tonic, episode 54. We're coming to you live today on Google Plus Hangouts because our other system just worked too well. So we had to try it again. And we are doing two back-to-back because I'm going away next week. Jonathan, welcome to WP-Tonic.
Hi there, Bill.
And it's going to be about themes, WordPress themes part 2, plus a little bit of news. And we're going to talk a little bit about this Google Plus Hangout. And we might want to even start doing our WP-Tonics like this if we can share and show stuff online. Just on slight news between Jonathan and Bill, some of the things that I'm working on is I'm working on ScreenFlow very hard to get really, really good at ScreenFlow. So maybe we can like flip, not today, but we'll in the future flip up some ScreenFlow little slips and little shows and tutorials and sort of play with it a little bit ahead of time. I know we're working on a show right now for MailRite, your business, your SaaS, the MailRite Real Estate Show, where I hope to bring up a little tutorial when we try this tomorrow. How's that, Jonathan?
That sounds great, Bill.
Well, this is WordPress, and this is all your our WordPress buddies across the world, and they want to know more about WordPress and themes, and this is for as well as the beginner and the advanced. We're going to talk a little bit about news. First thing we're going to do, we're going to share, and we'll both talk about this. So I'm going to go up on share now, and we're going to share, and there's beautiful WP-Tonic. We'll present to everyone there. But what we're going to share is we're going to go over here on this site, and we're going to type in thesis. And we're going to talk about the news and thesis. We're going to type in, excuse me, I'm going to type in here in the address block, thesis.com. And the membership.com, it goes to WordPress. Well, what's going on here, Jonathan? People can see this back out now. People can see it for themselves.
Well, as we said in the last episode, this has been a bit of ongoing family saga in the WordPress community, and a little bit sad, you know, the ongoing dispute between Matt and Chris of Thematic. And in the end, Matt and WordPress Foundation won their case that they own that domain and they can point it to wherever they like.
Yeah, this domain business is really unique. We don't know how he got a hold of it, but I'm sure that Thesis wished they had the domain, and I don't know why they didn't have the domain.
No, I don't. But Matt I gather, I might be incorrect, they bought it. So we covered that in last week.
Right.
What I'd like to go on is something a little bit more happier. WordCamp USA, Bill.
Oh, yeah, WordCamp USA. We definitely want to put that out. Tell us about WordCamp USA in the city of brotherly love.
Brotherly love. It's
By the way, that little robot that went all over Europe and got to the United States, and it made it to the city of brotherly love, and somebody beat it up. You know that?
Yes, I did. They had that on tech. I heard about that. It's a bit sad, isn't it? So basically, WordCamp USA is going to Philly. It's a little bit controversial, not because it's the city of Philly. It's more to do with the timing, because they're going to be having it in 2016 in December the 4th and between December the 4th and December the 6th, Bill.
Right. That's a cold time of year to go to Philadelphia.
Just a little bit. The transportation, if it's a hard winter, might be a little bit of a problem, Bill.
I got a feeling this WordPress Camp National, whatever it's called, the world, USA, right? It may move around different parts of the country until it finds a happy home.
Well, I don't think you've been following things. That's the whole reason for this, Bill. It's going to rotate from city to city every year.
Right. Well, I'm the outsider. I'm just working real hard to get the business going. And you insiders from the WordPress community, that's Jonathan and all his friends. And that's why we have such great guests, is because of Jonathan's connections. And because he knows all these guys and gals.
And girls, yeah. But you're going to be doing the news, not next week, but the following week. So,
I'm supposed to do the news. Yeah, I've been crazy busy going away this week. That's why we're doing 2. Hey, let's go back, talk about themes, because we want to play around with this Google Plus Hangout and show people the themes. I want to talk a little bit about Genesis Dynamic and why I went to it. And then we can bring up some other themes and actually look at those sites where you can find those themes. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds great, Bill.
Let's try this different show. We're going to bring you up. We're going to bring you back up on the shared screen. As soon as I got this, make sure we're going back and forth, which you are. There's a lot of elements in Google Plus Hangouts. But Google Plus is really, really improving, folks. And we're going to share the screen. I'm going to present to everyone. And as you see, we're back there on thesis.com. Ooh, let's get off this site. But this is fair use. This is news. So let's go back here and look at that. That's a big head guy. And I'm the wizard, by the way.
Yeah, you're the wizard.
That's the big head guy. We're always trying to figure out who that is, that big head guy. That's your site, Jonathan. That's some of our guests. So why don't you talk a little bit about why you chose this site and who produces it? And it's a unique site made for podcasting, right?
Yeah, it's a commercial theme. I got it off Theme Forest. I've adapted it. It was recommended to me by Pippin Williamson, our last guest on our live show. He uses it for his own podcast, Applied Filters. I thought if Pippin had checked it over, and it should be a good theme, and it's been okay, isn't it?
Yep. I didn't mean to do what I just did. I'm going to do another one. This is a theme, and it works. It's unique. It's a really pretty theme. You're still, how long has it taken you to learn this theme? Even you as an expert, it's taken you some time to learn a theme.
Well, it's learning it and learning it. I haven't gone in and hacked the code that extensively. I had to look at it and the functionality, and it's pretty good. It's got some things that I probably could improve on, but for what I wanted and that, it's been fine, Bill.
They say that cobbler's kids don't have shoes, right? So the last place you work on is your own site.
Yeah. Like I say, I've been busy with Mailwright, haven't I, Bill?
Yep. Oh no, very busy. And there we go. There's watching live.
And also, promoting the commercial side of WP-Tonic.
Right. So we'll go on here. I just want to finish up just looking at these fun things, and that's about. And the 15, this is the offer. And there's stuff, all sorts of good fun. Folks, go to WP-Tonic, WP-Tonic.com, and you can find all sorts of fun and free giveaways. You've got some giveaways back in the about or contact somewhere there, don't you, Jonathan?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. And now I'm going to go on to, this is my very first production theme. It hasn't changed. It's Timelines. It's my biggest show. I've got about 10 shows in reserve. It goes out once a week now, but it used to go out more. So this looks a lot. Let me open this up a little bit because it's stretched right here. So you get the side, you get the full feel. This looks a lot like John Lee Dumas, who I followed John since his start, almost since his start, because when I was coming back from overseas, he was starting. And he's about a year ahead of me. And he started using something, Genesis, basically. And it looks a lot like this. I want to show you what he looks like now. So this is what I look like. This is my original. It's all set up. It works fine for what I need on the podcast. But I'm going to show you some other directions I'm going and show the backside of Genesis Dynamic. This is really basic Genesis Dynamic, real simple, down and dirty. I haven't changed a lot of stuff. I really need to go out and update this. By the way, this is what a timeliner is, but that's changing too on my stuff. Plus, and here's New Media Gold. It goes to New Media Gold. Let me get back out of there. That's sort of my company website, which looks a lot the same because it's just a real quick down and dirty. So let's let me go into the direction I'm going. This is what, in fact, I have to get in the backside. Actually, I have to go back to here to get the backside. Did I log out? Yeah, I didn't log out. I did. I'm gonna log in the backside. I think I'll log in the backside of this one. You see, this is Podcaster's Home. Notice it's got a sticky header, sticky on the top, and working on that, and the fat footer down below. And this is just something down and dirty. And what I found was I'm using Genesis and Dynamic, and that's what I've set other people up in podcasting to use. And if you go over here to like, here's my interviews, people come in here and they basically sign up, and it goes into my system, and they go here and they schedule a Skype interview with me. So it's all automated. And this is really designed for the people that come and see me, so they can do all that sort of stuff. But and here's what it looks like when we get into let's look at the Podcaster. So see, it's still got the side panel, and this is where the podcast is going to be. Should I ever set up Podcasters as a standalone podcast? Right now, what I've decided to do is we went ahead and tested Podcaster on YouTube before going into iTunes. And I think we're going to just mix it in with Timelines of Success, because they're similar to Timelines. So that's a way to save money in the podcast world. It's a great theme, very responsive, does a lot of great stuff. So let's look at the inside of this theme. Let me get back to it. So we'll look at the inside panel here. And it doesn't make a difference. So we're on right now. So this is my original panel. You can look at it. Jonathan, you can cue in here and show them sort of the differences. So on here, you've got this Genesis and Dynamic, and this is really the difference right here. And you go into here, and the really nice thing is you can go into design, and you can do all sorts of stuff in design. So you set up all your different colors, your wraps, your sizes, nav. So you do everything here. And then it's got other things too. If you want to go back over here, you can set up widgets, front pages, all sorts of stuff. You can put code directly in here. It's like little tricks and tips, and it's a good way to start. And it takes probably a little bit more work than the average WordPress site theme, but it's a good one just to keep on working on. And then I've got Simple Edit, which is the footer and disclosure. So for me, I could go into hours, and it takes, it's going to take you a good couple of weeks of hard work to learn how to do this, of working every night. But once you get it, you'll be able to do a lot of stuff. And that's sort of the end of Genesis and Dynamic. You've now seen the inside of Genesis Dynamic, the original page. One thing I do want to show you before we get off, this is something I'm developing for politicians. And this is called the skin. It loads up very fast. It's Genesis Dynamic, a skin. So you just save the skin, you load it back up, and whatever your widgets, remember I said you could put your widgets anywhere. So you start laying out what you want to do like this. And then finally, I'm going to go to, this is also a Genesis WordPress site, and it's more customized for sure, but this is what John Lee Dumas has evolved to. And he's got a lot of plugins, a lot of stuff here. Hey, do you want to talk about your plugins, Jonathan, at all on here, or just going to go back into themes?
I think I'd like to cover the theme topic.
Okay.
Like you've shown your Genesis and Dynamic, folks, is a third-party plugin provider that basically only works with Dynamic. I forgot the name of the chief developer. He's unfortunately, but he's well known in the Genesis community, and he produced this plugin that provides the interface which Bill has just shown. And basically, how it does one, well, I think how this works, Bill, is that you've got the Genesis, which is the parent theme, and then Dynamic gives you a child theme, and then you got the plugin as well. Is that correct, Bill?
You have, yeah, I think you got it right. The theme is really Genesis. Dynamic is the child theme, and then on top of that, you have skins. And Dynamic is all-encompassing. It has a backup system. Really, the skin is like a backup. So it does a lot of stuff. You can even back up your data, too. You can back up everything with one-stop shopping. And so I'm getting really good, and the tutorials are excellent. They do pretty well. I'm under a different developer license now, but now there's about a $200 a year fee if you want to buy a license directly from them and then do development. At least a $200 per year. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm under an old license, which is nice. And I want to thank Mike Fitzpatrick too. He's the one. His company is very, very successful in the auto dealer business and developing WordPress sites for automobile dealerships and plugins. He does very, very good, and that's exclusively what they use. So I have fun. So Jonathan, when we finished up, what we were talking about in themes, you want to go to a couple of those big theme factories you're talking about and show folks?
Yeah, go to the big 100 gorilla in the theme world of WordPress is Theme Forest, Bill. So if
Theme Forest. I put thesis in. I'm trying to find thesis stuff. Let's see. Let me put in Theme Forest. There's Theme Forest right there. So there's Theme Forest. There you go. They're huge. Yeah, they're huge.
So like you see, you almost got 20,000 WordPress templates and themes. You got their featured ones. You do search for the most popular. Like I say, unfortunately, I'm just basing this on my experience. Some of the themes that are the most popular can be the most troublesome. And what I mean by troublesome is they're fine if you just work in the confines of the flexibility that's inbuilt into that particular theme. But if you try and work outside or push the theme out the boundaries of the flexibility that was developed by the theme designer developer, you will get into trouble, because these most popular themes, these multi-purpose, they're all almost sold as miniature frameworks, a bit like Dynamic and a bit like some other frameworks that we've talked about. I've found them personally to be nightmares to try and customize, because they are coded in such a way that it makes it, even for experienced front-end WordPress developer, to really work on them in a satisfactory way. But that's only, I'm not tarnishing the whole of Theme Forest with that. So basically, if you're going to go to Theme Forest, what I would suggest, that even before you go to Theme Forest, is let's take example, a restaurant. You're a local restaurant opening in Reno, and you haven't got a big budget. Before I go down this, I would like to point out that if you are a restaurant and you've got a tight budget, I would look at maybe a SaaS solution called Happy Tables. They provide specific solutions for, that's them, Bill, thanks. They provide a free solution, but their main commercial solution is around $39. I think it's around $39 a month. And they provide a lot of inbuilt functionality that's aimed at the restaurant business. And they offer a number of theme skins that you can choose from. They're not endless, but and they offer other functionality that's purposely designed pardon me, for the restaurant industries. And I definitely would say that they also got a master coming up, but they haven't priced that up yet. So it's definitely, they've been around about 3 years. They're from a well-known British-based WordPress theme shop. It's definitely something to look at, Bill. Absolutely. But if you're a restaurant and that isn't something that you want to look at, you've got a lot of restaurant themes on Theme Forest. What should you know? But before you do that, what I would suggest is that you go to a lot of restaurant sites, and you write down some of the restaurant websites that you like, and you write down quickly what bits of those sites that you really like, right? And there's, if you're using Firefox and Chrome, there's a number of free plugins that you can take screenshots. So I suggest that you this is a quite a popular breakfast restaurant in Reno that Bill has brought up.
And Truckee. Yeah. And look at
And
this. Who's on here? Bobby Filet.
right. Um, so go to a number of restaurants.
Jonathan, this is making me hungry. I'm hungry, man. I want to eat.
Yeah. Go to
That's why Jonathan is like the technical guy. I'm like the out forward. I want to just eat. I'm ready to eat.
Right, Bill. That's nice to know. So basically, look at a number of industry. Well, we're using the restaurant industry as an example. Go to a number of restaurant websites, find the ones that you really like visually and also in functionality, how to display the menus, other bits that you really like that can add to the experience of coming to your website. And also take screenshots, write down roughly what you like, because you're bound to forget otherwise. And it doesn't have to be enormous. Don't go crazy, but do write some notes down. All right.
Jonathan, this is Outback. So this is the big franchise. We went from the very successful Micro, local folks squeezed in, who uses social media extremely well. They use postcards. They get your email when you come in. They send you out like a free champagne for your. These are good ideas for business too. This is more like MailRite show, MailRite. But I'm saying, but look at this. Here's Outback. Here's the big boys. And they just asked for my location, share my location. But this is not that complex of a site, is it? It's got a fat footer. It's got a thick footer.
One thing I would advise people is I think it's a good idea to look at restaurant web. If you're a small restaurant owner, I would tend to advise that you look at other restaurant sites that are similar size to yours. The reason why I'm suggesting that is that you could be tempted to try and produce a website that is totally out of your price range.
Yep. This would be expensive. This part, now we're getting an expensive part. You have to do a lot of tables.
If you let me finish, Bill. And it could have functionality that can only be achieved with custom coding, Bill.
Yep.
And the franchise restaurant websites are going to have a whole in-house development team. They also use outside agencies, but these agencies can be 30, 40 person agencies plus. So you can get a false, basically it's like you got the budget for a Ford Fiesta, but you're looking at the Mercedes website and you want a Mercedes, but you can only actually afford a Fiesta. They're both cars, but they're completely different budgets.
Yep.
So my suggestion is that you look at competitors that are similar or a little bit, more established. But I don't actually think it's a good idea to look at 100, 200 restaurant chain websites, because their need and their look, their functionality also can be completely different to what is suitable for you.
Right.
So go to these sites, write down.
Jonathan, let's look at here. Those three you just mentioned. Here's a good example. Okay, here's Swells. Here's where you and I hang out on Wednesdays, 1MC. It's a little coffee shop. And they're on a budget, right? They're not huge marketing budget. Right. And they've got a nice little site. Right?
Yep.
So that's a good basic site. How tough is it to produce a site like this? I mean, was this a good starter site, good place to start?
I would have thought so. That they none of the functionality that they've got there. It's a good, reasonable brochure site.
Yeah. And a lot of techies hang out there, so they're around the the WordPress techies and all sorts of people at this location. So anyway, and then we go up to Squeezed In. Now they spend a lot of money in marketing.
Yes.
So, and they're probably a little bit more advanced, I'm guessing.
And their budget was bigger.
And their budget's definitely bigger. They like to collect email addresses, but this isn't. It's just a little tougher to build this one, right?
Yeah, I think you can see that it has a certain style that kind of the style in some way, this is really personal, is a little bit goofy, but it's done because it fits into their internal and brick and mortar look and fun and branding. So I think it was done in purpose. They've got this. They like to portray a community kind of homespun, but they combine that with quite sophisticated online marketing and branding, don't they, Bill?
Yep, and they are growing. They're just starting to franchise right now, and they're just growing. They started in Truckee, Reno, but pretty interesting folks, and they're cutting edge in the stuff that they're using for for a small little business, but it definitely shows size.
Right.
Look what they did for their menu. They just put up an HTML. They just flipped right to an HTML. That's a good little trick. Put it on like Amazon S3 and just flip right to it. See that? Mm-hmm. The only problem is now you can't change your food items very fast. You got to create a new HTML and put it up, right?
Well, PhD, you mean?
Or it actually could be a PDF. Actually, just
that's what I mean. It was a PDF. So basically, I want to go on to the next point I want to make.
Okay. And then finally, here's the high-end guys again. It's fun to look at those to see the differences. And this is, you can sort of, that this is a lot of work. So what do you want to go to, Jonathan? You want to go back to just you and I, or you want to go to another site?
No, I want to go back to us because I want to make some points.
Okay.
So basically, you've done your research, then you go to Theme Forest, and then you try and find a restaurant theme that kind of matches your rough look that you're looking for, and has some of the key built-in functionality. You should have a tick list of what is essential functionality and what's more aspirational functionality. And you want your key functionality, you want to try and find a theme that's been designed for the restaurant that has that inbuilt. The reason why I say that is that we're looking at probably a $49, $59 theme. As soon as you get into customized functionality, the price is going to accelerate. So you want to find the biggest inbuilt functionality in that theme. Then you got to take how long has that theme developer been on Theme Forest? Are they a premier theme developer? Basically, Theme Forest gives kind of denotion to those developers that have been on there for a number of years, how many themes they've sold, what support standards that they've consistently kept to. So they provide a kind of stamp of approval that comes from Theme Forest for their premier theme developers. If you're not dealing with a premier theme developer that's got a good track record of sales, time on Theme Forest, and also good feedback, I would suggest that you need to do more studying, because taking that as soon as you purchase a theme, you cannot get your money back. So you don't want to start buying a load of themes. So if it's somebody that hasn't got a substantial track record, you really want to send, and you probably want to do this with any of them. If you do find like 3 themes you like, and you're a newbie to this, I would suggest you're best off going off with those 3 Theme Forest themes, that you go with the one that's got the longest track history. But then I would send them a message before you buy, with a specific question, and see how long it takes them to come back to you with an answer. If a developer and their team, some of these Theme Forest develop shops literally have a small team, their own team, that can be in 5, 10, 15 people, because these are micro businesses that have built up substantial businesses on the Theme Forest marketplace. Well, if they can't be bothered to answer a pre-sales question pretty quickly, how effective do you think they're going to be when you've got a support question? So you want to keep that in mind. So it's a good test, right? Also, one of the good things about Theme Forest is that they normally have their own internal ticketing system, but part of the review thing is people can leave public reviews, and you do want to read them. You really want to spend some time and read the reviews.
Yep. And the numbers and the stars and all that good stuff.
You really want to spend some time reading them. Obviously, any theme shop is going to get some bad reviews because it's it probably won't have the time to deal with this, but it's dealing with people's expectations, Bill, and some be quite blunt about it. Some people's expectation of the kind of support that can be given on a $59 theme is unrealistic, Bill. So you've got to keep a balance, but what you're looking for is the majority being good. And then when you read the bad reviews, you've got to make a judgment call. Is that person being fair to the theme developer? Now, I've said all this, and I want to end. How are we doing time-wise, Bill?
Good. Let's finish. I'm gonna talk a little about WP theme detector and go back on your concept.
Right.
When you look, when you have a restaurant, you look at sites. I'll show you a little trick to figure out what they might have.
Yeah, but I want to tell the audience about the experience I had about over a year ago, which I've got about 6 to 7 years as a WordPress consultant, stroke front end developer, stroke consultant. And I must have produced over 50 WordPress websites for clients plus. So I had a small client referred to me, and it was, I'm not going to go into enormous detail, but I'm just going to say the client was a small restaurant owner, and they wanted, they were just about to open. They realized they needed a website. They didn't want to do it themselves, but they had a very tight budget of around less than $500 to $700. They had a good logo. They had good internal photography, and they didn't have a lot of written content, and they wanted something done quick, right? And we were going to write a bit of the content for them. So the budget was tight. So I didn't go to Theme Forest. I went to another theme shop that I will not name. It has a very good reputation in the WordPress community, and they had a very stylish, very impressive theme aimed at the restaurant industry. It was very responsive. It had some really nice elements. I took some screenshots. There was one part of it that the client wasn't keen on. We agreed that we would adapt that bit, but the basic layout they liked. The client was, this was very new to web development and what could be expected by the purchase and by utilizing the experienced WordPress consultant. Because it was a rush job and it was referred, I cut back on all my normal proposal, normal client handling that I normally do because the budget was so small. And they wanted a quick job, or they said they did. So I went ahead and purchased this theme. I didn't ask any questions from the theme shop. It was a theme shop that I hadn't personally dealt with before, but like I say, it'd been highly recommended to me. So I buy this theme, Bill, and the troubles start pretty quick. Purchase the theme, start looking at it. The whole front page, plus all the key internal pages that were most stylized were all driven by shortcodes, Bill. I've never seen a theme like it. It was riddled with shortcode functionality. I'm not talking about widgets here because the Genesis homepage is highly widget side based. I'm talking about key functionality to almost, and don't get me wrong, Bill, I'm not against shortcodes. I think for particular functionality and buttons and that, I've got no problem with shortcodes. But when basic layout, and when we're talking about 90% of the layout is driven by shortcodes, we've got a major problem here. So I also went back to the theme shop and saying, come on, lads, this isn't the way to do it. They weren't very forthcoming. They said, they made a host of excuses. The client also started to want project scope drift. They fundamentally said they didn't, they had changed their mind. They wanted this, they wanted that. And I started doing the changes, and it started to get a bit out of hand. But the main point I'm trying to make of this is that you've got to be wary about what you're buying when you buy a theme, and you can't buy it and then try it. If you buy it, you can't return normally.
Right.
So you got to do. This is maybe one of the strengths of Studio Press and Genesis, because fundamentally they are a little bit different, and they're not perfect. Some of their documentation is out of date, but normally a Genesis theme, if you get used to it, the next one will have some slight differences, but it's going to be basically constructed the same way. But I was shocked, and I won't mention this theme shop. I can't even remember it. But I wouldn't be rushing back to use them either. So I do feel a little bit sorry for the end user, for the newbie, for the business owner, because they could be buying into something that really isn't fit for purpose. Because it was fit for purpose if you could change things around. They had a whole library, a visual library, which you could choose, but it was all driven by shortcodes. But if there was nothing in that library, you then had to do a lot of custom coding and a modification to a theme that you hadn't, which had a very odd style of development. So the whole thing was a little bit of a nightmare, Bill. And a lot of that was down to me as well. I should have been more cautious, spent more time on it.
Hey, Jonathan, I totally understand. My first themes were free, and I think it's a good place for people to learn to try the free themes. But then you realize how much work and effort you put into it. And if you get a good reference like Genesis Dynamic, that's a great place to start. And I know I have an affiliate relationship with them. So if you go on over, and I think you might too. Well, no, I've got, but go over to one of our websites, either WP-Tonic or go into newmediagold.com. You can find the links. But let me give you a couple of hacks to finish up. You mentioned something that I thought was really important. You told folks if they have a restaurant or something to go out and look at your competition, see what they have, and then sit down with a expert programmer, developer, front-end developer.
Well, really not really. You just write down what you like. What parts you like. What parts. If you can find a theme that's got this, and you prioritize which parts you really like and which function, and then if you can find a theme that has most of that functionality, you could probably set it up, and you've got some computer skill, you could set it up without having to hire somebody.
Well, no, the average person is not going to even know how to find the theme, to tell the truth, or what, if they're going to go to wherever. I'm going to show an example. Here's a hack. I'm going to give you 2 hacks real fast. Here's the hack. I like this hack. Let me share this, present to everyone. Here's WP theme detector. You go to, that's what, WP-themedetector.com. And I put in, let me show you. Here's swells. I put in swells right here. I just put this in the domain name. It comes up with, this happens to be a custom theme that you don't find. You find a few custom themes here and there. It's got shows a couple of plugins who did it. So that's a custom theme, probably not the best. So if you type in timelines.
Why are you saying that, Bill?
No. I'm an example for this because
example. Yeah.
I'm saying no. Custom themes are really nice. Timelines, if I could spell. Let's go to podcastershome.com. So this is processing, so it'll be a couple seconds here. So depending on this time of day, we got a lot. It's like 6:42 when we're doing this, or everybody and their mothers on the systems. But it does take a little bit of time. It will search back in, and it will come up with some of the plugins and some of the background. So it's kind of nice. Taking a while here. Podcasters Home. Hopefully I spelled it right. Podcastershome.com. Yeah, it'll come up. So anyway, that's one of the hacks. The other hack I want to give them too, while it's coming up here, I want to look over at Studio Press real fast. Show them Studio Press. Here's Studio Press where it all starts. You can buy all our themes for like $300 or $400. All our child themes. These are all child themes right here. That's the basic one. And these are child themes. And the framework that you have to buy, I think it's on the front page here, is like $59. It's not really showing the cost here. So Studio Press. Anyway, it's about $59 for the basic Genesis framework. And that's mine. I'd have to log in there. So this just shows some of the stuff that they do. They've got just about everything on here. And it's just a direction to go. It's not a bad place to start. So let's see if our hack is up here. Yeah, there it is. So there's my Genesis Dynamic. Notice it's coming up Dynamic Genesis. That's interesting, which is the child theme. And then it shows the parent theme down here, child theme provider, author, Cobalt. And then here's Genesis. So it's kind of nice. It's really showing stuff. And then here's just a few of my plugins. It doesn't have them all, but it's got some of them. It's interesting, the ones that it doesn't have. But it's got a few of them on there. PowerPress is what we use. So that's my two hacks, Studio Press and WP. So finishing up, Jonathan, I'll let you finish it up here. Anything
so hopefully we're given some insights about, how what I would stress is don't just go to Theme Forest and just get anything that suits your eye, but, it's better that you go to a few local websites that are, doing this, at a similar size to you, and have a good look, not only in your own area, you're not restricted to your own area, you can look national, but make a judgment call that they've got a similar business to you. Don't look at some, McDonald's and think that somehow a $59 theme from Theme Forest is going to match the look and functionality of the McDonald's, and it's a corporate site, and it probably wouldn't be suitable anyway, the look. So be realistic about, look at other people's sites, write down quickly, just spend a couple of hours writing down what you like, what ones you do like, get 3 that you really like, write down why, try and rationalize in your own mind why you like them. And if there's any kind of the way they display the menus, anything that they're doing that you really think could increase the experience, write those down. And then, if you're going, you can go to Genesis has a number of restaurant themes.
And a real estate theme too.
And there's third-party Genesis developers that also do restaurant. You could go to Happy Table, or you can go to Theme Forest, and you will get a much bigger choice in look if you go to Theme Forest. But remember the things that I've tried to outline when you go to a large marketplace like Theme Forest.
Jonathan, we're only doing 2 theme shows. We talked, we looked at restaurants as an example. Yeah. But when you're talking about people looking at things, e-commerce is something that they always look at, that we could do a whole show on themes for e-commerce.
We could do a whole month about e-commerce.
Because when you're talking about people looking at sites or, and copying,
I'm just talking. I
want Amazon. I want the Amazon plugin.
I'm just talking about small business brochure sites to promote their business, Bill. That's we've got to keep some parameters on here.
And a quick commercial for you and me. And what I do is I just focus in on podcasters and some politicians, and they need something very unique. A podcaster needs certain things to play their podcast feed. And then it's really nice to start their affiliate account and also gather email. So if you can do those three things and get it all set up and going, you're going to have a good start when you start your podcast.
We're working in hand to hand, really, because, fundamentally you offer a certain package.
Mm-hmm.
But if they want better, if they want, you offer a starter theme,
right,
and you get it all set up, and you give advice about what equipment they should buy,
yep,
and you hold, depending on what package they go to, you will offer some personal coaching as well, but that's on the higher package
right,
that you provide. But then also, if they want good, a more bespoke hosting and support package, we combine our services with WP-Tonic, don't we?
Right.
And but you're very focused on the podcast.
Yeah.
I like the podcasting community. We do a podcast, so
mm-hmm,
I think I know how to maintain a website and offer value to the podcasting community, but also offer maintenance, and me and my small team.
I was going to say, if you want an e-commerce site or you want that restaurant site, you're going to be the man to put it together. You're WP-Tonic.
Oh, I would probably, at the present, I'm focused on the maintenance and support side, but I have a number of freelancers in the WordPress community. John Locke is one of our regular presenters. If somebody was looking for a website in a certain budget, I wouldn't have any hesitation of referring them to John. And nope. I do it for other, but I know what I'm aiming at is my SaaS and also my maintenance support functionality that I sell through WP-Tonic, Bill.
Yep, very good. You know what? Hey, well, as we close, that's another really good hack point you brought up. And what we should be doing is, you said something very good. We know the very best folks across the country, and if they specialize, and we're talking to developers out there, front-end developers, things like that. Here's advice from me: specialize in something. Be the very best e-commerce. Be the very best restaurant person. Reach out to people like us through like podcasts and shows like ours, and we're going to point people to you to get to work, because you do it well, and you know what themes work, what don't work. You can do it effectively, efficiently, and fast. So yeah, the developer listening out there, not just the end user, the developer who listens to our show, which I think probably 2/3, even more, because I've seen some of the email come in, are the developers, front end folks. In fact, I wish I knew his name, but got a really nice email. He's got 15 jobs. He listens to our show, and he's starting out. But focus on one specific business and go after it, like restaurants.
Yeah, we've been talking to a couple of our loyal listeners, and what we're playing, I don't know if that particular gentleman is going to agree, but we would like some of our kind of intermediate developers who are looking for to come on the show, and if they've got specific problems, or I've got over 25 years of business knowledge, and Bill has run businesses. Give some business online consultation, and if they've got some technical questions, and we should be able to, or I'll do my best to answer them, and give some a quick 20-25 minute consultation about whatever they want to discuss. I think that would be a great show, and a lot of our listeners, and we offer that to anybody that wants to contact us, and we have a chat with you and see if you're suitable to come on. And I think that would be a great show, and a lot of people.
Jonathan, I agree 100%. And let's talk afterward. We're getting a little long here. It's been really fun. I think this is going to come out pretty well, and we're doing this like at 6:51 in the evening. And that's when people are using bandwidth everywhere. And you're down in Carson City. I'm up here. I think this is going to be a good show. Hey, Jonathan, we got to sign off. But remember out there, if you're listening on iTunes or on Stitcher Radio, go ahead and look at WP-Tonic WP-Tonic.com on episode 54, and you can watch this show and see all of the slides we put up. And then the second thing is you can go to New Media Gold, which is my main company site, and I always put the feeds up there from the YouTube show. But and also I put the feed in from the podcast. It doesn't really make a difference because the podcast is off in the world of podcasting, iTunes and Stitcher. But good show, Jonathan.
Oh, thanks, folks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yep. See you
See you in a week. I'm going to LA for a week. Hooah.
Ooh.
Aloha. Okay, we'll stop broadcasting.